China put a lot of pressure on President Tsai in her first term, so many are wondering what's next in relations with China. Well, I asked the head of Stanford University's Taiwan Democracy and Security Project, Templeman, what he thinks will happen in cross-strait relations in Tsai's second term.
The ball is really in Beijing's court. There's a couple ways to interpret this election from Beijing, but what you cannot interpret it as is a sign that their current strategy towards Taiwan is working. You know, they tried to undercut Tsai Ing-wen almost from her first day in office. They have poached a bunch of diplomatic allies. They put a lot of pressure on her administration in the international sphere, and all of that has resulted in a share of the vote in 2020 that is almost exactly the same as what she got in 2016. So it's a repeat.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So nothing's changed in terms of
Yeah, so if this is your
support.
strategy, then so one way to interpret this in Beijing is that their strategy is just fundamentally failing, and they may need to take a pause, step back, and fundamentally reassess. And there is a precedent for that in Beijing's Taiwan policy. They did something like that in 2005 after Chen Shui-bian narrowly won re-election.
His second term, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we also asked Templeman if he thinks China will change its strategy and perhaps be friendlier to Tsai and her administration.
From my perspective, that would be Beijing's smart move, because obviously the DPP is not going away anytime soon. It's who they're going to have to deal with for the next 4 years and maybe beyond that. But we haven't seen a whole lot of flexibility or creative thinking from Xi Jinping's China these days. And so what I worry about is that they'll pursue they'll basically double down on what they've done in the last 4 years. So it's a kind of beatings continue until the morale improves strategy. So they'll continue to poach diplomatic allies. They'll continue to pressure the administration, shrink economic space. There's some actual economic concerns coming up. ECFA, for instance, is set to potentially expire at the end of this year, September of this year.
ECFA, Economic Cooperation Framework Agreement?
Yeah, so this was an agreement pushed forward by the Ma administration, signed in 2010, that laid a framework for cross-strait economic negotiations.